If you ever come across a Predator story and feels like it slipped through the cracks and wasn't meant to be found, South China Sea is the book for you. No government black ops, no world-ending stakes, just a remote island filled with killers and criminals who think they run the show, until something more badass shows up. Most Predator fans haven't even heard of this novel, but it quietly features one of the most vicious Yautja ever written. The beauty of the plot is that the Predator isn't picking off some soldiers or poor citizens in a jungle. He's dealing with hardened professionals who've made a living out of surviving worse. So, it's the kind of match you don't want to miss. In today's video, we're unpacking the novel's chaotic setup and taking a hard look at the Predator that turns paradise into a massacre. So let's get into it. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. The novel, A Pirate's Nightmare. The story kicks off amidst the lawless waters of the South China Sea, where ruthless Thai pirate sisters Sukon and Suchen Dithakar command their crew with precision and force. Their target is a seemingly vulnerable freighter drifting off course. These pirates are well versed with pulling off raids before, but this one turns out to be anything but routine. While boarding the freighter under a curtain of rough weather, a storm erupts and splits their vessel from the main ship. When the storm passes and Sukon returns, she sees that the entire freighter crew has been reduced to gore, and worse, her own boarding party, including her sister, is butchered in horrific ways. The only living souls are a traumatized woman and her newborn baby, who is hidden but barely breathing. What's most disturbing is the absence of noise, the eerie silence that follows senseless violence. The kill patterns are too clean, too efficient. While scouring the vessel for any sign of the attacker, Sukon comes face to face with the nightmare itself, which is, you guessed it right, a predator. Sukon throws herself overboard in a desperate attempt to escape, while clutching a piece of alien armor torn during the encounter. As she disappears into the ocean, the predator finishes its task and detonates the freighter in flames before vanishing in a cloaked escape pod. And trust me guys, this brutal introduction sets the tone for the rest of the novel. The Predator's arrival is signaled by blood and fire, something far deadlier than pirates lurking in the South China Sea. The Island of Hunters. After the brutal attack at sea, the focus of the novel shifts inland to a secluded but heavily guarded island hidden somewhere in the South China Sea. The island is owned by Rath Priap, who is a former Khmer Rouge colonel turned private warlord. He's converted this isolated piece of jungle into a luxurious playground where elite guests hunt exotic and often endangered animals for sport. It is as brutal as it sounds, because this isn't some jungle safari getaway. This guy is selling bloodlust to anyone who is willing to pay up. Among the guests are a hulking Romanian ex-wrestler named Horia with a violent past, Nikolai and Marikov, two former KGB agents now acting as high-priced mercenaries, a reclusive billionaire with deep military ties called Gustat, and Maxim, a flamboyant British rock star chasing his next thrill. Each one has their own agenda, and none of them are particularly trustworthy. In fact, most of them are killers in one form or another. So what began as a twisted vacation quickly unravels when Priap's men discover fences torn apart by something powerful. Animals in their enclosures have been ripped open with surgical precision, not butchered, but actually ripped open. Then, members of Priap's personal army start disappearing. First, it's a patrol. Then, it's two guards at the northern sector. Priap suspects sabotage or an attack by outside forces, but there are no footprints or escape routes. Whatever's picking them off is hunting like nothing they've ever encountered before. Tension builds quickly, and the guests begin to realize they are no longer apex predators on this island. The real hunter has arrived, and it's not here for the animals. The predator's hunt begins. The island turns into a blood-soaked arena really quickly as the real predator steps onto the scene. The Yautja, having silently landed after the freighter incident, begins the assault. It doesn't strike with chaos, it dismantles with precision. The first to go are the sentries posted around the jungle perimeter. Priap's soldiers vanish without a sound, their gear left untouched. their bodies later found skinned and suspended high in the trees. Before anyone realizes what's happening, the island's comm systems are disabled. Satellite uplinks are fried. Landlines are cut. Backups, including radio repeaters, are crushed or stolen. There's no way to call for help. The guests are trapped with something they can't see and don't yet understand. Horia, Nikolai, and Marikova initially assume they're being picked off by a rival paramilitary force, but that illusion quickly crumbles. Night vision, motion sensors, none of it works against their invisible stalker. A security team is wiped out near the animal pens in a matter of seconds, and their bodies left in grotesque displays that speak more of ritual than murder. Gustat suspects the truth first. He's encountered strange tech before, but even he isn't prepared for the scope of what follows. The predator hunts without bias. Traps are turned back on their setters. Guns are useless when you can't see your target, and therefore, the guests start to panic. This is no animal they're facing, it's a master hunter. One that's been doing this long before humanity ever picked up a rifle. The jungle turns red. What starts as a high-end hunting expedition spirals into chaos as the predator picks off its targets. The isolation of the island and the growing paranoia begin to break down the group's cohesion. Wrath Priap tries to maintain order, but his control begins to slip. Former allies turn on one another. Mistrust spreads like wildfire. Hidden motives surface. One guest is revealed to be an arms dealer attempting to steal classified military tech. Another has been bribed to spy. One hunter disables a communications relay to keep others from calling for help, hoping to leverage the chaos for personal gain. The predator, watching from the shadows, uses this internal conflict to its advantage. It waits for its victims to separate from the group so it can strike with lightning-fast efficiency. Some are snared in traps meant for others, while others are slaughtered as they argue or panic. The jungle becomes a bloody chessboard, and the predator seems to be always 3 moves ahead. It's chilling to see the way human weaknesses like greed, pride, fear, and hate speed up the body count. The survivors soon realize that for many, their worst enemy isn't the predator, it's each other. Predator versus the damned. So, the once confident group of hunters has been whittled down to a battered few. Each survivor carries physical and emotional scars with this ordeal. With no escape, and the jungle littered with corpses, they realize their only chance at survival is to face the predator head-on. Later that day, the predator launches an all-out attack on Wrath's weapons depot. The poor guards are slaughtered like sheep, and the whole place is set on fire. Wrath and the rest, like Gustat and the Russian group, race to check it out. But on the way, their bad luck faces them head-on. It's the predator. Now, nobody dies in here, but Nikolai ends up getting clawed across the face. When they finally make it to the depot, they're shocked to see that the predator has actually left behind a bunch of heavy weapons for them to use. Weirdly, there's also an old flintlock musket sitting there that definitely wasn't part of Wrath's supply. Back at the lodge, things get heated. Horia calls out Gustat because something always sounded fishy with him. It's like he knew what they were up against. That's when Gustat finally admits the truth about his wife and son being killed by a predator years ago. Ever since then, he's been hunting them down with help from someone only known as Onyx. So now, using whatever they can find, be it ruined structures, old weapons, etc., they set up all kinds of traps, spike pits, explosives triggered by tripwires, bait zone meant to lure the predator in. Wrath, now, despite all the damage, has decided to take charge again, though not everyone's happy about it. The rest of the survivors, including Sukon, aren't putting much faith in him anymore and are starting to run on instinct and grit now. Then the predator turns up the mind games by hijacking Wrath's own security system that shows footage from inside his hidden surveillance room, just to prove he can go wherever he wants on the island. It's got complete access, no problem. Around the same time, Gustat vanishes without a word, and Nikolai starts getting real sick because this guy starts showing signs of infection with an alien virus after being scratched by the damn predator. Wrath decides to pull back, moving what's left of his forces to a fortified temple ruin. He wants to make his last stand there. Meanwhile, Horia, Tal, and Calhoun head into the swamp. They think the predator has stashed its ship there, and they're hoping to steal some alien tech, either to fight back or cash in if they survive. You might think a person can change their morals in the face of death, but no. They do find the ship, but just as they hoped, the Predator shows up. He badly wounds Calhoun and chases Hordia and Tao into the jungle. While that's happening, Gustat shows up again, hiding near the ship. He plants a bomb on it, but when the Predator returns, it spots the device, throws it away, and activates some kind of perimeter defense system. The thing just flattens the jungle in every direction for half a mile. Tao dies in the blast, but Gustat and Hordia somehow survive. Back at the temple, Nikolai, who's now fully overtaken by the alien infection and not really human anymore, goes after the Predator, which I guess is better than a zombie infection, because at least here, his teammates are safe. Thanks to the infection, he can now see the Predator, even when it's cloaked. He goes at it with a knife, holds his own for a while, but eventually loses. The Predator then beheads him. Wrath watches all this go down and immediately calls in an artillery strike on the area, followed by a full-scale bloodbath that lasts the entire night. Wrath's entire crew, which is more than 100 soldiers, is totally 100% wiped out. The Predator eventually tracks Wrath down in the central tower of the temple. With no other option, Wrath chooses to shoot himself rather than let the creature take him. The Predator now heads off, thinking it's all over, but he still has one pirate sister to face. Sukon had been tracking him ever since her run-in on the freighter. She shoots it with a bullet made from a piece of its own armor, and it punches right through the Predator's gear. Then Marakova, waiting in position with a sniper rifle, follows up and puts another round right through the hole, badly injuring the Predator. The Predator limps away to get back to his ship, but Gustat and Hordia catch up before he gets there. They throw everything they've got at it in a brutal hand-to-hand fight. Hordia gets knocked out. Gustat ends up paralyzed and gets dragged back to the Predator's ship. The creature plans to rip his skull and spine out while he's still alive. Man, this monster is not kidding around. But what the Predator doesn't know is Gustat managed to sneak his bomb back on board. Just as the Predator docks with its cloaked mothership that's been hovering above the island this whole time, Gustat triggers the bomb. It blows up the entire ship, along with every Predator on it. Aftermath. The island is left in ruins, with its ecosystem completely shattered. The survivors board a rescue ship days later, as they are traumatized, but still alive. The experience leaves them forever changed. That's needless to say. Even the victory feels hollow, because of the price they had to pay. Even though the Predator may have retreated, he left a battlefield soaked in blood behind him. It's a haunting reminder that an apex predator can bleed, but never underestimate its will to return. Predator, the perfect hunter. Let's unmask this predator now, shall we? This creature stalking the jungles of Predator South China Sea is no ordinary alien. It's the epitome of intelligent, cold-blooded perfection. Jeff Vandermeer's take on the Predator mythology honors the classic traits fans have come to expect. Born to hunt. The Predator species is known in the expanded universe as Yautja and has originated from a warrior culture obsessed with strength and hunting. In South China Sea, the alien's mission is pretty clear. He has to stalk and kill worthy prey, but unlike previous cinematic versions, this Predator's every kill is ritualistic, like an art form in itself. Dread and dreadlocks. Described in brutal detail, the Predator is regal along with being monstrous. He has a dreadlocked head, reptilian skin, with mandibles that make him instantly recognizable. Vandermeer leans into the grotesque beauty of the creature. He moves with a grace, sometimes invisible, sometimes cloaked in blood, always watching. Its eyes gleam with an almost judgmental intelligence. Even without understanding its language, the survivors know they are being studied. Weapons. This Predator comes armed to the teeth. It wields the franchise's signature plasma caster, which is an energy-based shoulder cannon with terrifying efficiency. But Vandermeer adds chilling new touches. The creature employs wrist blades that can retract and pierce bone like butter, and cloaking technology that renders it practically invisible in the thick jungle foliage. His thermal vision allows him to stalk prey through smoke and darkness. There's also a disturbing emphasis on his collection of trophies, like skulls and spines ripped from the bodies of the fallen. These are status and honor in the predator's deadly code. His purpose. This predator doesn't kill the weak or unarmed unless provoked. It seeks a challenge by testing the mettle of its prey. In fact, several characters are spared when the predator deems them unworthy. I don't know if they should feel relieved or insulted. There's a twisted sense of nobility in his actions because he's here to compete and leave behind a story only the dead can tell. Cold, calculated, relentless. What makes this predator so terrifying isn't just its weapons, but its mind. The beast knows how to turn the environment against its targets, and he adapts quickly as well, from every encounter. But there's another creature that's known to adapt well in the face of trouble. Humans. So, when the survivors finally turn the tables, they manage it by matching the predator's intellect and understanding its pattern of thought. Marvelous verdict. So, there you have it. Predator, South China Sea, where paradise becomes a hunting ground. It's quite a tale, and it tells you so much about humans itself rather than just the predator. It tells us that alliances are as fragile as human bones, and one relentless alien can easily use that against you to turn a jungle into a graveyard. So the next time you feel like going for a hunt, let's not forget we are just a sec away from turning into prey. What do you think? Would you survive a predator hunt, or would you be the first skull on its trophy wall? Do let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed dissecting this deadly masterpiece, don't forget to like and subscribe because we've got more creatures coming up. Until next time, stay sharp and stay safe.